Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips with Gamecock great Kip Bouknight talking Gamecock baseball. Kip, the University of South Carolina Athletics Department issued a press release just before 10 o'clock last night announcing that baseball coach Chad Holbrook had submitted his resignation. So, Kip, I asked you last week, would Holbrook be brought back for another year after the Gamecocks missed the NCAA tournament for the second time in 3 years, or would Holbrook be fired? And the correct answer turned out to be neither. Holbrook resigned from South Carolina last night.
Yeah, it's going to be a new era for Gamecock baseball with whoever Coach Tanner decides to bring in and start out the 2018 season. I hate to see Chad go. I certainly have known him for a long, long time, but I do believe that change was needed. And, it's whether he's fired, resign, whatever, it really doesn't matter. I don't, quite frankly, buy into all that. I think he was let go, and I think that, Coach Tanner felt like we needed to go in a different direction, and it's up to him now to go out and find the best fit and, see where we go from there.
South Carolina Athletic Director Ray Tanner held a press conference at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. It lasted almost 25 minutes. And, Kip, I thought it was interesting. Reporters were told before that press conference began today by Steve Fink, the media relations director at South Carolina, that Coach Tanner would answer questions at the podium during the press conference. He would not answer any questions after he left the podium, and he likely would not speak to the media again until a new coach is hired. So we're likely not going to hear from Ray Tanner again until a new baseball coach has been selected and hired at the University of South Carolina. So Coach Tanner spoke for about 25 minutes today. He answered a lot of questions, but he really gave no details, no information at all on what happened with Holbrook. He gave no details on conversations that he had with Coach Holbrook. He did not talk about the circumstances surrounding Holbrook's resignation. He did not talk about a buyout. He did not talk about, what the future may hold for Chad Holbrook, but he spoke very positively about Chad Holbrook. You got to remember, these two worked together before they got to South Carolina. Holbrook worked with Tanner for 9 years with Gamecock baseball. They had a tremendous run of success. Tanner talked about that, and he said that they had a lot of fun together along the way. So these two are very close. A difficult position, to say the least, Kip, for Ray Tanner.
Well, and I think we talked about that, Emerson. I mean, I had full confidence that Coach Tanner would put the program first and make the decision he felt like was best for the University of South Carolina baseball. And that is his job. And I'm sure that these last several weeks, and quite frankly, I'm sure it was the whole season. I mean, I don't think it was a secret that Coach Holbrook had to go out and have a good year in this program, and it didn't, unfortunately. And there was probably a lot of reasons why. I mean, yeah, they had some injuries but I don't really think that, that held up. I mean, Coach Tanner talked about that a little bit and mentioned that, there were some injuries here and there that could have affected him. But I think if Coach Tanner truly felt like the injuries were a problem and were the cause for a bad season, I don't think we'd see Chad Holbrook leaving right now. And, I'm not surprised that it came out the way it did. I mean, Coach Tanner and Coach Holbrook have been working together for a long, long time. Chad Holbrook has done a lot of great things for the University of South Carolina. I mean, you're talking about a guy that, came from North Carolina and, one of the best recruiters in the country in college baseball and in all of sports. And he won 2 national championships on the staff. And unfortunately, it didn't transfer over to a lot of success as a head coach, even though he made regionals 3 out of 5 years and super regionals 2 out of 5 years. So, the glass half full or is it half empty? And you could make an argument either way, but I think Coach Tanner just saw maybe a lot of other things going on. And he talked about exit interviews with the players and, I just wonder if there's some disconnect there going on between the coaching staff and the players. And that's important. I mean, there was one ingredient that we always had under Ray Tanner when I played for him, and I know that several other, former players felt the same way. If you played for Coach Tanner, you'd want to run through a wall for him. And I'm not saying the players didn't feel that way about Chad Holbrook. I hope they did. But, those are things that folks inside the program would know. And I think it was kind of evident on the field that there were times where that may not have been the case. And, I mean, if you look even, the players worrying about what the media is saying and worried about what fans are saying and, wearing T-shirts, us against y'all. I mean, that's wasted energy. And I can tell you right now, if that T-shirt was ever even thought about being made under a Ray Tanner, it would have been burnt. I mean, there is no way that would have been allowed. So I was very, very surprised at that. Very, very surprised. And, there was the teams with Coach Ray Tanner were always mentally tough. And I just feel like these teams, they just lacked that mental toughness, and they didn't do enough of the little things. I mean, you look back at national championship wins and the runs that they had at South Carolina. They got bunts down. They didn't boot the ball around. They had some errors, but they made things happen, and they just didn't have enough of that, and it just wasn't consistent enough. And I mean, you're talking about a season this year that. Gosh, I mean, you look back, and if you can win 4 or 5 of those games where you had 8 weekends in a row only winning one, if you win 4 or 5 of those and actually win some series, the morale's a lot better, and you probably end up making a regional, and we might not be in this scenario. So it's tough. I hate to see him go. I love Coach Holbrook to death as a person. Again, he's done a lot of great things for this community. He's a great human being, a great family. And I wish him nothing but the best. And I do believe that he will land somewhere very, very soon. Wouldn't surprise me if it ends up being somewhere in the state of South Carolina.
Yep, certainly a possibility. And, the speculation that Holbrook could even be a head coach somewhere else in the SEC at some point in the future. We do not know what the future holds for him, but we do know that he resigned as the head baseball coach for the South Carolina Gamecocks. USC Athletics put out the press release just before 10 o'clock last night. The Gamecocks went 35-25 in the season that just ended and missed the NCAA tournament for the second time in 3 years. And it was just the second time in the last 20 years that Gamecock baseball finished with a losing record in SEC play. So Chad Holbrook has resigned. Ray Tanner, Gamecock athletic director, met with the media on Wednesday afternoon to talk about it. Gave very little information about discussions he had with Chad Holbrook, but really wanted to focus more on the future, Kip. So let's talk about that. Where does Ray Tanner go from here? My favorite line of the press conference today, Kip, was Ray Tanner saying, "We will not be hiring a search firm." Ray Tanner is the search firm, baby.
Yeah, that was pretty good. South Carolina's pretty fortunate to be in this scenario. It saves them some money for sure. I definitely think Coach Tanner, and for those folks that think Coach Tanner's just now thinking and who I guarantee you for the last 3 years, Coach Tanner has had the next head coach in mind. Not because things weren't going like he wanted them to. I definitely think that, there was some concern, especially over the last 2.5 seasons. But I just know Coach Tanner very well, and he's a planner. He never wants to be caught with his pants down. And I got a feeling he's had conversations with folks confidentially for at least the last 8 to 10 months, I would think, maybe even the last 16 months. So he's got a plan. I'm sure he's sent some feelers out, and I personally, I couldn't stand playing against him, but I personally would love to see a guy like Kevin O'Sullivan, a pitching guy from Florida. He's always got great staffs. He's certainly a great recruiter. I think, unfortunately, he's had a program that, when you only have 1,500 people on a Friday night and you're a top 10 program every single year, it's pretty disappointing. I think he would be a great candidate. I'd love to see Josh Holliday here. Josh Holliday is the brother of Matt Holliday. I played with Matt for 3 years in the Rockies organization, and still good friends with Matt and talk to him all the time. A great baseball family, great baseball mind, got tons of knowledge, and high-level knowledge. And that goes, for me, I think this program, even if Chad would have stayed, I think there had to be a significant change to the program and where they're moving. I just think college baseball is completely different, Emerson, than it was even 5, 6 years ago. But definitely in the last 8 to 10 years, there's been a ton of change. The bats have changed. The balls have changed now. South Carolina under Jerry Myers and even Ray Tanner, Mark Calby was about the only one, in my opinion, that ever truly ran a full pitching staff and would let 8, 9, 10, 12 guys throw and also pitch to contact. And it seemed like there were plenty times where it's kind of, South Carolina look at how many times they'd have a starter in the game, and after 3 or 4 innings, they'd have 70 or 80 pitches, and the opposing pitcher would beat through 3 or 4 innings and only have 40. That's the only way you can get as a starting pitcher late in the game is you've got to pitch to contact. You've got to trust your stuff. You've got to, and it's not all about just using a fastball. I've had some critics talk to me about that. Oh, we Kip, all you want them to use a fastball. No, but until that hitter shows you that he can't hit a fastball. I look back and I think if I had Clark Schmidt's stuff, and don't get me wrong, Clark Schmidt had a great season, and he's a great pitcher, but he's not prepared to pitch at the next level. He's nowhere even close to being prepared because all he's doing is pitching away from contact. He should have been a guy that was throwing 7, 8, 9 innings all the time with his stuff facing the bats that he's facing. And it wouldn't surprise me a bit seeing guys like that being able to move up quickly in the minor leagues. And same for Will Crowe. It's that was the frustrating part for me watching, because I felt like we could do so much better with the arms we had, and even arms that we never even used. So I think that Coach Tanner needs to do a really, really good job of interviewing and talking to some of these coaches and trying to find that guy, and especially a pitching coach in a mind that is going to come in and call games a little bit differently. Hopefully we bring in a guy that can read a hitter's swing. I can't tell you how much I learned at the next level, being able to learn a hitter's swing and watch them swing the bat one time and know how to attack them. And know, the hitter will tell you what you need to do. And the game dictates it, the score dictates it, but the hitter's swing is a telltale sign, and we just really haven't been doing that for a long, long time.
Kip Bouknight with us here on Gamecock Central Radio. Kip won the Golden Spikes Award as the top amateur baseball player in America back in 2000. I'm Emerson Phillips. We invite you to download the Gamecock Central Radio app on the App Store and on Google Play. You can subscribe to our podcast, search for Gamecock Central Radio on iTunes, SoundCloud, and other popular services, or just visit radio.GamecockCentral.com. Kip, a lot of names already being mentioned as possible candidates for the Gamecock baseball head coaching job, but the trouble is a lot of these coaches are currently with their current teams and are still playing in the NCAA playoffs. So how is this going to affect Ray Tanner? You said you think he's already got 1 or 2 top candidates at the front of his mind right now. We don't know who those might be, but I got to agree with you, Kip. I don't think there's going to be much of a search at all. The only question will be how soon will he be able to meet with these men and evaluate them and make a decision and find someone to come in and take over for Chad Holbrook here. So he gave no timeline. He said, we don't have a specific timeline in mind, and he mentioned the fact that there's baseball going on right now at the college level, so it may be some time before we know the new Gamecock coach is.
Yeah, it may be. It could be a couple weeks, and quite frankly, I think it will be. I know Coach Tanner. I just think he is going to take his time, unless it's a guy like Josh Holliday that's currently out, or a guy that I didn't mention him that I personally would be my number one is Monty Lee, and there's a lot of fans that would probably. I think they would love that. I hope they would. One of the best deep minds, in my opinion, in all of baseball is Monty Lee. I wish he had never left. I absolutely love Monty Lee, and he grew up a Gamecock fan. He's from the Camden, Kershaw area. Gosh, I'd love to get him back. I don't know if Coach Tanner would go that way, but he certainly was great when he was here at South Carolina. He's done a wonderful job at Clemson, and if that's not a candidate, he is really, really going to do well at Clemson. I'm sure. I think he's going to be a wonderful, wonderful head coach there for a long time.
Yeah, I heard Tommy Moody on the radio in Columbia today, and he said that he has heard a lot of Gamecock fans mentioning Monty Lee, the Clemson head coach and former head coach at the College of Charleston and former graduate assistant under Ray Tanner with the Gamecocks. But Tommy Moody said that there's no way he believes that Monty Lee leaves Clemson because Clemson gave him such a great opportunity, and Monty Lee has already done a fantastic job at Clemson. You know, Clemson was back in the top 5 in the nation at one point this year. Got knocked out in the regionals last weekend, but, you know, and it is, financially it's going to be very costly. If it were even possible to lure Monty Lee to Columbia, there's a huge buyout on his contract. I just think there's too many obstacles there, Kip, and that would be a great choice among Gamecock fans, and I'm sure Tiger fans don't appreciate it at all. But that's a name that's going to come up a lot, let's be frank.
Yeah, I think it will, but I could see that being one where Monty would probably come out pretty quick and say he's not interested if he is contacted, just to go ahead and get the rumor mill out. But you know, I think the only prayer that Gamecock fans have there is he did grow up a Gamecock, and I love Monty to death. I used to work out with him when I was playing professionally, probably, I guess, every off season for about 5 years. I used to work out with him in the weight room all the time, and he just I learned a ton from him. I mean, I think that, you know, I learned a lot about pitching from hitters, and you know, I lived with Matt Holliday for 3 years in my first 3 years of pro ball, and the amount of knowledge I learned from him was amazing. Just and Monty's a great mind, and I would personally love to see it. My gut tells me he's not coming. My gut tells me he might, even if he's offered, he would say, no, I'm just going to beat y'all's butt at Clemson for a little while. So I don't know. But you know, he's in the Gamecock family forever. I certainly feel for him when he's not playing Carolina. And there's one thing I do know: we will bring a good coach here. I mean, it's that simple. I know Coach Tanner will make a great decision. I know this decision for him was very, very difficult, getting you know, having to let go of Chad Holbrook. But he will find the right fit, and I have full confidence that he'll do that. And he'll do that however long it takes. And I'm sure that the media will get very, very impatient. But that's, you know, he's going to do his job and do it very well, I'm sure.
Yep, when the time's right, we'll find out who the next Gamecock head coach will be. Ray Tanner heading up that search for the University of South Carolina Athletics Department. And, Kip, you know, one thing that you and I have talked about this a few times here on GCR, when Ray Tanner got the athletic director's job, I think Gamecock Nation was very happy for him and happy for the University of South Carolina. I thought it was a good hire. You know, Ray Tanner was USC's man, and it seemed like a natural progression of things after Tanner had reached the College World Series final 3 years in a row, won 2 of them. But I remember distinctly, Kip, thinking that, you know, this is a good day for Gamecock athletics and for Ray Tanner, but this is not a good day for Gamecock baseball. You know, Carolina lost, arguably, I would say definitively, the best baseball coach in the country when Ray Tanner left the head coaching position to take the athletic director's job, and the Chad Holbrook era has now come to an end after 5 years. Chad had some big shoes to fill, man. It was a tough spot for him. A tremendous program that he inherited, but very high expectations that come with it.
Yeah, there is. And, you know, I don't think for a second Chad Holbrook wasn't prepared for those expectations. He's lived it. He's known. Obviously, even at Chapel Hill, they had high expectations. But, I mean, coming here, he was part of national championships. He was an amazing recruiter. He knew. I just think that, you know, it's a different position. I mean, and I think there were times, especially this year, where, you know, he just almost looked like a wounded puppy. I mean, he looked as if the pressure and the criticism really got to him. And, you know, Chad's a very, very happy-go-lucky guy. He's a very personable guy. And unfortunately, I think there were a lot of fans that were just very, very personal. And I think he took it personally. And I hope he didn't. And I hope I'm wrong about that. But, you know, he just looked really, really beat down. And I really hate that for him, because at the end of the day, one thing I've learned in athletics, and I went through depression, heck, in 2004, I woke up every day. My wife had to wake me up to go to the baseball field, because I went through got in a rut and was in depression. And it's tough. It'll beat you up. But there's one thing I know, and, you know, it's who you are as a person and what you are in life has nothing to do with your success or lack of success on a baseball field. And it's very, very difficult when you're playing at a high level or you're coaching at a high level because you're judged on wins and losses. But I can tell you right now, Chad Holbrook's a winner in life, and he will forever be a Gamecock. And I'm very appreciative of everything he did for our program. I felt like he was a huge key to success for South Carolina and winning national championships and doing something that our baseball program has not done ever before. So, I hate to see him go, but it's hopefully there's a new chapter in his life, and he'll land somewhere that him and his family are very, very happy, and I'm sure that they'll make an impact on young men's lives and move forward. And that's all I can do is wish the best for him.
Yeah, by all accounts, Chad Holbrook is one of the best recruiters in the country and a fine person. He's just a great guy. And, there's every reason to believe that he will land on his feet. He will move forward. Tough run for him at South Carolina, but the expectations are high, and the Gamecock fans not happy with the progression of the program, just kind of trending in the wrong direction here in the last couple of 3 years. So Chad Holbrook resigned on Tuesday night. Ray Tanner met with the media on Wednesday afternoon, and we will have more information for you here on Gamecock Central Radio just as soon as it becomes available. Might be a week or two. We don't know at this point. So, Kip, we'll get together again as soon as Ray Tanner announces the next Gamecock baseball head coach. Times they are a-changing at the University of South Carolina. Thank you, Kip.
Thank you, Emerson.
All right, that's Gamecock great Kip Bouknight, and I'm Emerson Phillips. This is Gamecock Central Radio. Thanks for being with us.